As questions swirl over how Silicon Valley Bank became the second largest bank failure in U.S. history, employees are now blaming working from home as one of the reasons it collapsed. Last year, SVB included remote work as a risk to its business, along with IT issues and productivity. The FDIC determining bank employees could continue working remotely with an exception for essential workers and branch employees. NewsNation's Sloan Glass is live. So, Sloan, what are critics saying about this excuse?
Many different things, Nichole, all looking at what former employees are saying. Now, the banking industry has been at the forefront of pushing employees to come back into the office. Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, Bank of America, all taking hardline approaches. But SVB was the outlier, and now former employees are saying that work-from-home environment was a key ingredient in their downfall. Experts telling NewsNation that's just a poor excuse.
It's the largest bank failure since the global financial crisis more than a decade ago. Employees of Silicon Valley Bank say the work-from-home culture and an overall focus on social issues could have led to its failure, anonymously telling the Financial Times that I almost felt like I was at work on a college campus, and ideas like hedging interest rate risks often come up over lunch or in small meetings. Dan Schwabel, managing partner at Workplace Intelligence, does not buy that reasoning.
I think that remote work is being used as a scapegoat and an excuse, which distracts people from the underlying root causes like ineffective or bad management and leadership, lack of diversity in terms of their portfolio, just the overall portfolio allocation.
Former SVB bankers say leadership of the California bank was spread across the country. The company's president, chief risk officer, and lender's chief executive all worked remotely, along with the majority of its 8,500 employees. And in SVB's own 2022 annual report, the bank included remote work as a risk to its business, citing IT issues and productivity reasons.
There's not one study that proves that remote work makes workers less effective or productive. In fact, every study shows quite the opposite.
But as fears of more U.S. bank failures loom, everyone is trying to understand what happened and how to prevent it.
When people are working remote, they're working more hours, not less, because there is less kind of work-life balance and boundary between, office and personal life. And we found over the past few years, up to 10 hours more working because of remote work.
SVB's approach was a stark contrast to the financial giants like Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan that have championed returning to the office throughout the pandemic. Still, the immediate cause to SVB's collapse did not have to do with culture or remote work. It was the company's failure to take into account the risk of a high interest rate environment paired with a bank run.
SVB's collapse may be the first in this new era of remote work, but Nichole, you'll remember many major firms have failed in the past, even when the majority of their employees were in office.
All right, Sloan, thank you for that. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.